You'll never buy meat again after seeing how they are made. When you take your bite from your favorite food, you're engulfed in flavors and textures. But have you ever thought about the journey of those meaty delights before they reach your plate? Keep watching, as this list may include your favorite treats as well. Starting with processed meats. Processed meats are a staple in many diets around the world, known for their convenience and flavor. However, the methods used to produce these meats and their health implications are often less well known. The transformation of meat into processed forms involves several methods such as salting, curing, fermenting, and smoking. These processes not only enhance the taste and extend the shelf life, but also change the nutritional profile of the meat. The range of processed meats is vast, including popular items like bacon, hot dogs, hamburgers, and cold cuts. While beef and pork are the primary sources, other varieties may include blood sausages, minced poultry, and offal. The assortment extends to sausages, ham, corned beef, jerky, canned meats, and various meat-based preparations and sauces. The health concerns associated with processed meats are significant. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, or IARC, classifies processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen, placing it in the same category as tobacco, alcohol, and even plutonium. This classification is based on evidence that consumption of processed meats is linked to an increased risk of certain types of cancer. Diet plays a crucial role in the development of colon cancer, with approximately 25% of cases associated with the consumption of red and processed meats. Scientific research continues to uncover connections between processed meat consumption and other cancers, including those of the stomach, pancreas, nasopharynx, and lungs. The harmful effects of processed meats can be attributed to several compounds they contain. Heme iron found in red meat can damage the lining of the colon. Nitrates, which are often used as preservatives in meat processing, can form carcinogenic N-nitroso compounds. Also, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, are generated during smoking or cooking at high temperatures, and these too have been linked to cancer. Understanding these risks may influence dietary choices. Awareness of the potential health hazards of processed meats could lead individuals to consider reducing their intake or seeking out healthier alternatives. Hot dogs. The process of making hot dogs is often hidden from the public eye, but once revealed, it can be quite startling. The journey begins with a mixture of meats, typically beef, pork, and chicken trimmings. These are the parts that are left over after the more desirable cuts have been taken. This blend is then seasoned with salt, garlic, and paprika to achieve the flavor profile we associate with hot dogs. The seasoned meat is then ground into a fine paste. This paste bears little resemblance to the hot dogs we see at the store or on our plates. It's then encased in skins made from collagen derived from cow or pig skin. This gives hot dogs their distinctive shape. Once encased, the hot dogs are smoked, which imparts the familiar smoky flavor. Finally, they are bathed to remove the casing. This is the product that ends up being grilled at barbecues and served at ballparks. Understanding this process can be disconcerting for many. The thought of eating leftover parts might not sit well with everyone, and the transformation from a blend of trimmings to the final product is a process that some may find off-putting. It's a stark contrast to the neatly packaged and flavorful snack that we enjoy. The knowledge of how hot dogs are made might change the way people view them. It could lead to a shift towards more transparent food practices or a greater interest in vegetarian options. For some, the process might not affect their consumption, but for others, it could be a turning point in their dietary choices. Swordfish, a delicacy in many cuisines, is often prized for its firm texture and rich flavor. However, the process by which these fish accumulate mercury in their bodies may deter many from purchasing them. Mercury is a heavy metal that can be found in water bodies, often as a result of industrial pollution. It is absorbed by small organisms and plankton, which are then consumed by fish. As larger fish eat smaller fish, the concentration of mercury builds up in their bodies, a process known as biomagnification. Large predatory fish like swordfish and bluefin tuna are at the top of the food chain and therefore accumulate more mercury than smaller fish. Swordfish, which can weigh over 250 kilograms, are particularly susceptible to high mercury levels because they live longer and grow larger, giving them more time to accumulate mercury. This is concerning because mercury is toxic to humans, especially to pregnant women and young children, as it can interfere with the development of the nervous system. The health risks associated with mercury in fish have led to recommendations to limit consumption of large, oily fish and to opt for smaller species that are rich in omega-3 fatty acids but have shorter lifespans, which means they accumulate less mercury. These smaller fish, such as sardines and mackerel, provide high-quality protein and essential micronutrients like iodine, selenium, phosphorus, and vitamins A and D without the same level of risk. The issue of mercury in swordfish is not just a health concern, but also an environmental one. The presence of mercury in our oceans reflects the broader problem of pollution and its impact on marine life. By choosing to avoid or limit consumption of swordfish, consumers can take a stand against environmental contamination and protect their health. While swordfish may be a popular menu item, the health risks associated with mercury accumulation make it a less desirable choice. Lab-grown meat or cultivated meat. The emergence of lab-grown meat, also known as cultivated or cell-based meat, has sparked a revolution in the food industry. This innovative approach to meat production involves cultivating meat from animal cells rather than relying on traditional livestock farming. The process is a beacon of modern science, promising a future where meat consumption is sustainable and ethical. How lab-grown meat is made? The journey of creating lab-grown meat begins with the extraction of stem cells from a live animal. These cells are unique in their ability to transform into various specialized cells within the body. Once harvested, these stem cells are placed in bioreactors, large vessels that simulate the natural environment of an animal's body. Here, they are bathed in a nutrient-rich culture medium which encourages the cells to proliferate. As the cells multiply, the culture medium is altered to prompt the differentiation of stem cells into the primary components of meat: muscle, fat, and connective tissue. This stage is crucial as it determines the texture and composition of the final meat product. The next step involves scaffolding, where the differentiated cells are meticulously organized to form the desired meat structure. Scaffolding is not merely a structural framework. It also delivers nutrients and aids in further cell differentiation. This process is particularly challenging when creating complex meat structures like steaks, as opposed to simpler forms like ground meat. The invention of lab-grown meat. The concept of lab-grown meat was brought into the limelight in August 2013 when Mark Post and his team at Maastricht University unveiled the first cultivated beef patty. Since then, approximately 60 startups have embarked on the mission to commercialize cultivated meat, expanding the range to include chicken, duck, seafood, and even exotic meats like kangaroo. Pros and cons of lab-grown meat. One of the most compelling arguments for lab-grown meat is animal welfare. This method has the potential to significantly reduce the need for animal farming and slaughter, thereby improving the welfare of animals within the food system. However, the current process is not entirely free from animal involvement, as it still requires stem cells from live animals and often uses fetal bovine serum or FBS from slaughterhouses. Food safety is another advantage touted by proponents of lab-grown meat. In a controlled laboratory setting, the risk of contamination from bacteria commonly found in livestock is greatly diminished. Nonetheless, the possibility of microbiological or chemical contamination remains, necessitating comprehensive safety evaluations before these products can enter the European market. The concept of lab-grown meat, a product cultivated from animal cells rather than harvested from living cultures, is reshaping our perceptions of food production. With the global population projected to reach 9 billion by 2050, the quest for sustainable protein sources has never been more pressing. Lab-grown meat, also known as cultured or cell-based meat, stands at the forefront of this quest, offering a potential solution that could transform the meat industry and our dietary habits. Sustainability and environmental impact. The production of lab-grown meat promises a reduction in the use of resources such as water, land, and fertilizers, which are currently consumed in vast quantities by traditional livestock farming. The shift away from cattle farming could also lead to a decrease in methane emissions, a potent greenhouse gas contributing to climate change. However, the environmental benefits of lab-grown meat are not without complexities. Recent studies suggest that while methane emissions may decrease, the production of cultured meat could result in significant CO2 emissions if the energy required for its production comes from fossil fuels. The key to mitigating this impact lies in the adoption of renewable energy sources in the production process. Consumer acceptance. For vegetarians, vegans, and those concerned with animal welfare, lab-grown meat presents an ethical alternative to traditional meat. Initially, the use of fetal bovine serum, or FBS, in the growth medium raised concerns, but recent advancements have seen the development of animal-free growth mediums. This breakthrough could make cultured meat a viable option for those who abstain from meat for ethical reasons. The question of whether lab-grown meat is suitable for consumption, according to religious dietary laws such as kosher and halal, is still under debate. The absence of traditional animal slaughter in the production process complicates the application of these dietary rules. The acceptance of cultured meat as kosher or halal will depend on the interpretations of religious authorities and may vary across different communities. Regulatory progress. The European Food Safety Authority, or EFSA, has increased its focus on cell culture-derived foods, signaling a move towards integrating lab-grown meat into European markets. However, many questions remain unanswered, including the nutritional equivalence to traditional meat, the long-term sustainability of production, and the overall impact on the food industry. Lab-grown meat presents a compelling case for a more ethical and potentially sustainable form of meat production. As the technology advances and becomes more accessible, it may very well challenge the dominance of traditional meat. The transition to lab-grown meat could lead to a significant shift in consumer habits, with many opting for this new form of meat over conventional options. The day may come when the sight of lab-grown meat on supermarket shelves is commonplace, and the idea of buying traditional meat is a thing of the past. The journey towards this future is underway, and it promises to be as transformative as it is intriguing. Foie gras. The process of creating foie gras, a delicacy known for its rich flavor and buttery texture, is one that has sparked considerable controversy and ethical debate. The term foie gras translates to fatty liver in French, and it is precisely this fattened state of the liver in ducks and geese that is both sought after by gourmands and condemned by animal rights activists. Foie gras is produced by a method known as gavage, a French term for force feeding. This practice involves inserting a tube down the bird's throats to deliver large quantities of food, typically corn mash, directly into their stomachs. The process is repeated multiple times a day for several weeks, leading to the liver swelling to many times its normal size due to fat accumulation. This intentional induction of hepatic steatosis, or fatty liver disease, is what gives foie gras its characteristic texture and taste. The health implications for the birds are severe. The enlarged liver impairs their normal bodily functions and can cause significant discomfort or pain. The force-feeding process itself is invasive and can lead to injuries or infections in the birds, throats, and digestive systems. Moreover, the high-fat content of foie gras raises questions about its nutritional value for human consumption, with a single-ounce serving containing substantial amounts of saturated fat and cholesterol. The living conditions for ducks and geese on foie gras farms are often cramped and restrictive. Many birds are kept in small cages that limit their movement, sometimes to the point where they cannot even turn around. These conditions not only affect their physical well-being, but also their mental health, as they're unable to exhibit natural behaviors. The mortality rates on foie gras farms are notably higher compared to other poultry farms, with many birds succumbing to the effects of force feeding or the stress of their environment. The production of foie gras has been banned in several countries and regions around the world due to animal welfare concerns. These bans reflect a growing recognition of the cruelty inherent in the force-feeding process and the unsuitable living conditions provided to the birds. In places where foie gras is still legal, there are ongoing debates and legislative efforts aimed at either improving the welfare standards or outlawing the practice altogether. Farmed shrimp. Shrimp, a beloved delicacy, graces many a plate with its delicate flavor and versatility in dishes. Yet the journey from ocean to table is fraught with issues that may cause one to reconsider their choices at the seafood counter. The process of shrimp farming, particularly in imported farm-raised varieties, has significant implications for both the environment and human rights. The environmental cost of shrimp farming is steep. The majority of shrimp consumed in the U.S. is imported, primarily from farms in Southeast Asia and Central America. These regions are known for converting mangrove forests into shrimp ponds. Mangroves are crucial for the environment. They act as carbon sinks, trapping carbon dioxide in their biomass and the soil. When these forests are destroyed for shrimp farming, the carbon stored is released, contributing to greenhouse gas emissions. It is estimated that each pound of shrimp produced in this manner is responsible for the release of approximately 1 ton of carbon dioxide. This figure is alarmingly high, especially when compared to other forms of protein production such as beef. Beyond the environmental concerns, human rights abuses are rampant in the shrimp industry. In countries where shrimp farming is prevalent, local and indigenous communities often suffer. These communities depend on mangrove forests for sustenance and livelihood. The arrival of shrimp farms can lead to the privatization and destruction of these critical ecosystems. Resistance to such practices has led to severe consequences, including violence and even loss of life. Reports from countries like Bangladesh, Guatemala, Mexico, the Philippines, and Brazil have linked murders and other violent acts to conflicts over shrimp farming. Health concerns often arise with farm-raised shrimp. The use of unapproved antibiotics and other chemicals in shrimp farming poses risks to consumers. These substances can remain in the shrimp and, when consumed, may lead to antibiotic resistance and other health issues. Given these concerns, it is imperative to seek out shrimp from sustainable sources. Responsible farms and fisheries are mindful of their environmental impact and uphold fair labor practices. By choosing shrimp from these sources, consumers can enjoy the seafood favorite without contributing to the aforementioned problems. Human trafficking and shrimp processing. In Thailand, which is a significant exporter of shrimp to the United States, human trafficking has been a persistent issue. Investigations have revealed that many workers in shrimp peeling plants are victims of modern-day slavery. They are often migrants from neighboring countries who are forced into labor through deception or coercion. The conditions they work under are harsh, with extended hours, child labor, and abuse being common. These findings have led to a global outcry and demands for change in the industry. The problem extends to the fishing industry that supports shrimp farming. In Thailand, bait fish are used to create feed for shrimp, and the declining fish populations have led to longer and more distant fishing trips. To maintain profitability, some vessel owners resort to forced labor. The conditions on these ghost ships are inhumane, with reports of starvation, abuse, and even murder. Despite promises of reform, investigations suggest that efforts to eradicate these practices have been insufficient. Another alarming issue is the contamination of farm shrimp with antibiotics. A study found that a significant number of imported shrimp samples contained antibiotic residues, some of which are linked to serious health risks and are illegal in food animals in the U.S. The overuse of antibiotics in shrimp farming is contributing to the global crisis of antibiotic resistance. The issues surrounding shrimp production are complex and multifaceted. They encompass human rights abuses, environmental degradation, and public health risks. Canned meats. The production of canned meats like Spam or corned beef is a process that might make one reconsider their consumption. These products are often made from lower quality meat cuts, which are then ground into a paste. To this paste, water and salt are added along with additives such as sodium nitrate, which acts as a preservative, and flavor enhancer. Once mixed, the concoction is cooked and subsequently cooled before being sealed in cans under high pressure to ensure an airtight environment that extends the product's shelf life. The health implications of consuming processed meats, including these canned varieties, are significant. Studies have linked them to an increased risk of chronic diseases, including heart disease, obesity, and certain cancers. The high sodium content and presence of preservatives are contributing factors to these health risks. Beyond personal health concerns, the production of canned meats has also broader environmental and ethical consequences. The factory farming methods employed to supply the meat for these products are a source of deforestation and greenhouse gas emissions, contributing to environmental harm. The conditions under which animals are raised in these settings raise ethical questions. Salmon. Salmon's health benefits are often touted, but these claims don't hold up when compared to plant-based proteins which contain no cholesterol. Salmon, in fact, has as much cholesterol as hamburger meat. Moreover, fish-based omega-3s have been found to inhibit insulin action, potentially aggravating diabetes, and may even increase the risk of cancer metastasis. While wild salmon is considered healthier, farm salmon presents a host of problems. It contains high levels of contaminants like PCBs and dioxins, which are linked to cancer and developmental issues. Pregnant women, nursing mothers, and young children are advised to avoid farm salmon due to these risks. The distinction between wild and farm salmon is often blurred, with mislabeling rampant in the industry. Farm salmon is dyed pink to mimic the appearance of wild salmon, making it difficult for consumers to differentiate. This deception extends to the environmental impact, where farmed salmon escape into the wild, contaminating the gene pool and disrupting ecosystems. Salmon is a keystone species, meaning its presence or absence has a significant impact on the environment. Overfishing and human interference have led to a decline in wild salmon populations, which in turn affects the survival of predators like bears, orcas, and eagles. Fish farming, often proposed as a solution to overfishing, exacerbates the problem. Salmon are carnivorous, requiring large amounts of prey fish for sustenance. The demand for these prey fish by aquaculture operations is depleting stocks and causing malnutrition in the oceans. The process of salmon production, from the environmental toll to the health risks associated with farm salmon, paints a grim picture. The hidden cost of salmon consumption, both to personal health and the planet, are too significant to ignore. Chicken nuggets. When we think of chicken, we imagine a healthy source of protein, but the reality of processed chicken products like nuggets is far from this wholesome image. Chicken nuggets are a staple in fast food menus worldwide, known for their convenience and taste. However, the process of making these bite-sized pieces involves more than just chicken meat. Studies have shown that some nuggets contain as little as 40 to 50% of actual muscle tissue, the part of the chicken we typically associate with lean protein. The rest, a mix of fat, blood vessels, nerves, and even bone fragments. The ideal chicken nugget is supposed to be made from the breast meat of the chicken, yet the reality is a concoction of various chicken parts. Ground together are the nerves, bones, connective tissue, and fat, all mixed into a homogeneous paste. This paste is then shaped, breaded, and fried to create the final product. The addition of preservatives and fillers, such as pyrophosphate, further distances nuggets from their natural origins. The life of broiler chickens, those raised specifically for meat production, is stark and efficiency-driven. Kept by the thousands in large sheds with artificial lighting, these chickens rarely see sunlight. They are given antibiotics to promote growth and prevent diseases that could decimate them before reaching slaughter age, which is typically around 47 days. After being slaughtered, the chickens are defeathered, deboned, and their meat is ground into shreds. This meat is then mixed with skin and biting agents to form the nugget paste. Once shaped, the nuggets are coated in batter and fried, resulting in the golden brown pieces familiar to consumers. If chicken nuggets were made solely from chicken breast meat, they would be a good source of essential nutrients like iron, zinc, and B vitamins. However, the reality of processed nuggets is a product high in fat, salt, and sugar with a significantly reduced nutritional profile. Processing can strip away the beneficial components of chicken, replacing them with less desirable elements. The high temperatures used in frying also contribute to the degradation of nutrients, leaving behind a product that is a shadow of its potential as a healthy protein source. When it comes to chicken nuggets, the term healthy is often up for debate. Despite claims from some fast food chains that their nuggets are made from USDA-inspected white meat or premium 100% breast meat, the reality is that many chicken nuggets on the market are far from being a healthy choice. One of the main concerns with chicken nuggets is their high sodium content. A single serving of 6 nuggets from a leading restaurant chain can contain up to a quarter of the daily recommended intake of sodium. This is alarming, considering that high sodium intake is linked to various health issues, including high blood pressure and heart disease. The cooking process for nuggets typically involves frying in hydrogenated oils, which are high in unhealthy trans fats. These fats, along with added sugars and preservatives, contribute to making chicken nuggets an unfavorable option for those seeking nutritious meals. The composition of chicken nuggets is another area of concern. While the ideal nugget should consist mainly of chicken meat, studies have found that some nuggets contain less than 50% actual meat. The rest is made up of a mix of chicken byproducts, including fat, connective tissue, and even bone fragments. This composition not only affects the nutritional value, but also raises questions about the integrity of food labeling. The term chicken nugget itself can be misleading. With some samples containing as little as 40% meat and only 19% protein, it's clear that the nutritional content is not as robust as one might expect from a product marketed as a source of protein. The presence of non-meat components dilutes the potential health benefits that come from consuming chicken. Imitation crab. Imitation crab, a common ingredient in sushi rolls and seafood salads, is not what it seems. Known as surimi, it is a product that might change your perspective on processed seafood. Surimi is a paste made from minced whitefish, often Alaskan pollock or whiting. This paste is blended with water, starch, egg whites, and a variety of additives, including artificial flavors, colors, and preservatives. The process doesn't stop there. The fish paste undergoes shaping and coloring to mimic the appearance of crab meat using both natural and synthetic colorants like paprika extract or caramel color. Once it resembles the desired seafood, it's cooked and packaged for sale. While imitation crab is lower in fat and cholesterol compared to real crab meat, it's higher in sodium, sugar, and artificial ingredients. This means that while it may seem like a healthier option at first glance, the reality is quite different. The nutritional value of imitation crab pales in comparison to real crab meat, which is rich in protein, vitamins, and minerals. For those who are environmentally conscious or seeking healthier seafood options, it is advisable to choose real crab meat or other seafood that is sustainably sourced. Certifications from organizations like the Marine Stewardship Council or MSC can guide you towards making responsible choices that are better for their health and the planet. Chicken, often considered a healthier alternative to red meat, may not be as beneficial as once thought. Recent studies have indicated that the consumption of chicken can lead to an increase in cholesterol levels, similar to the effects of eating red meat. The American Heart Association has associated the intake of 3 to 4 eggs per week with a 6% higher risk of cardiovascular events and an 8% increased risk of death from cholesterol-related causes. This risk is comparable to the cholesterol increase seen from consuming chicken. Research has shown that both red and white meats can elevate blood cholesterol levels. Surprisingly, the study found no significant difference between the two, challenging the long-held belief that white meat, such as chicken, is a healthier choice. The research specifically avoided processed meats to focus on the effects of pure beef and chicken, excluding fish from the white meat category. The findings suggest that plant-based proteins, particularly soy, do not raise cholesterol levels as much as animal proteins do. This highlights the potential benefits of a diet rich in vegetables and plant-based proteins over one that includes high amounts of chicken or red meat. Now, the choice is yours. Will you be careful about these foods in the future? Let us know your answer in the comment section below. And before you leave, please make sure you hit that subscribe button for more informative content in the future. With the global population projected to reach 9 billion by 2050, the quest for sustainable protein sources has never been more pressing. Lab-grown meat, also known as cultured or cell-based meat, stands at the forefront of this quest, offering a potential solution that could transform the meat industry and our dietary habits. Sustainability and environmental impact. The production of lab-grown meat promises a reduction in the use of resources such as water, land, and fertilizers, which are currently consumed in vast quantities by traditional livestock farming. The shift away from cattle farming could also lead to a decrease in methane emissions, a potent greenhouse gas contributing to climate change. However, the environmental benefits of lab-grown meat are not without complexities. Recent studies suggest that while methane emissions may decrease, the production of cultured meat could result in significant CO2 emissions if the energy required for its production comes from fossil fuels. The key to mitigating this impact lies in the adoption of renewable energy sources in the production process. Consumer acceptance. For vegetarians, vegans, and those concerned with animal welfare, lab-grown meat presents an ethical alternative to traditional meat. Initially, the use of fetal bovine serum or FBS in the